Hey guys, today we're going to continue working with rounding and estimation. As you see, your homework is going to be worksheet 2.4. It says practice, only doing the estimating. I don't want you guys doing the real answers yet. We're just going to do the estimation. We're going to do some more work with that today. Please pay attention to the video and follow along. If at any time we're going too fast for the video, if you just need to, just raise your hand and ask for it to be paused or stopped, and we can get caught up and then go from there. But if you pay attention, hopefully you should be able to stay on task with us. So here we go. First thing I want to do is I want to review the rules of rounding. If you have your notebooks out, open to the notes that we took on Friday, awesome. If not, it's okay. You might also want to have that place value chart out in front of you. But just a quick review of the rules of rounding. Remember that the first step that we have to do is we have to determine what place value you're rounding to, whether it's the tens, the hundreds, the tenths, the hundredths, the thousandths, whatever side of the decimal it is. You need to decide what place value and what number is in that place when you're rounding. Once you determine that, step number 2 is to look at the number directly to the right of the number that you're rounding. We'll never round a number that's to the left of that number or further than just one spot directly to the right of the number that we're rounding. So just look at what number is directly to the right of the number we're rounding, and then there's one of two things we do. The first thing is, if the number to the right is 5 or greater, you're going to round up. Okay, so if that number to the right is 5 or more, you're going to round the number up. On the other hand, if the number is 4 or less, we're going to round down. Okay, so if you have something 4, 3, 2, 1, or 0, you're going to round down. Those are the rules of rounding that we talked about on Friday. So what I'd like for you to do now is you should have a paper in front of you that looks like this. If you don't, please pause the video for a second. Pass these out as well as the blue pens, but you should have a paper that looks like this, as well as the blue pen in front of you. So go ahead and pause it if we need to hand them out still. Otherwise, we'll get going here in a second. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look at some of these. You'll notice that I've underlined some of these place values already, and that's what I want you guys to round to. So I want to do one example of each, and then we're going to go ahead and work on these. So take a look at example number 1. You'll see that the 3 is underlined. That's the ones place. We're going to round to there. So what we'll do is we'll take a look. There's the 3. We look directly behind it. Directly behind the 3 is 0. Now, going by what our rules were, if it's 4 or less, which 0 is 4 or less, we're going to round down. Remember, this number does not ever go down. It either stays the same or it goes up, because we think of this as somewhere between 3 and 4. So because it's a 0, we want to round down to 3. And then remember, you can put the .00 if you want. If you don't, it's not going to be a big deal. Okay. Now I'm writing a little bit big because it's hard to do on the computer, but you should write this smaller underneath it here. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, okay, let's take a look at this number. 1 is what we're rounding. We look directly behind it. There's the 6. Okay. Going by the rules of rounding, 6 is 5 or greater, so we're going to round up. The 1 then would become 2. And again, we can put the decimal 00. I prefer to do that. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Now we can estimate. 3 plus 2, we know, equals 5. And again, .00 if you want, or if you don't. Now, I want to remind you that I'm writing very large because I'm on the computer. You should be writing with your blue pen very small underneath of here. Basically rewriting it underneath of here, because not only are we going to do this estimation, but eventually we're going to need to have room to do the actual addition eventually. So make sure you leave enough room down here so we can do addition. I just have to write big because I'm on the computer. Okay? So that's what we're going to do for there. We're going to round to whatever place value it is, and then do the estimation. I don't want you to do the actual problem, just estimate. Just figure out what the estimation would be. Okay? Now we can also look at example number 7, which is a subtraction. Very similar. Same idea. We take a look at this number. In that place value, we've got a 2. We look directly behind the 2. We've got a 6. So by the rules of rounding, 6 is 5 or greater. So we're going to round this 2 up to a 3. I'll try to do a better job of making it smaller this time. Okay? This time I won't actually go ahead and fill out the zeros. Okay? That way you don't have to if you don't want to. Remember though, anytime you round, everything to the right of that number becomes 0. Everything to the left stays the same. Let's go to the number 1 over here. We're going to round to the ones place here, so we take a look at the number directly to the right of it. And there's a 5. 5 falls in the 5 or greater category, so we are going to round up. So that then would become a 2. Remember, this is subtraction. So 3 minus 2 is 1. There's our estimate. Okay. Down here at the bottom for the word problem, I'd like you to try to do rounding these two numbers and estimating what the actual bill would be before taxes. Not actually find the number, but do the estimation. Okay. You're going to work on these for a little bit. When you finish, you can check the answers. There's a key to the answers that you can take a look at and check to see how you did, and then correct any mistakes you have. At the end of class, though, however, we'll go over the correct answers, and then collect these papers and the pens, because after we've collected these papers, you'll have these for homework once we actually do the addition. Okay. I will be back on Tuesday if you have any questions over this stuff, but otherwise, good luck.